Try to tell me who leaving the store understand. But it's not my fault. It's not my command. Well, I ain't no genie when I'm surely not a slave. And I won't be locked up in some purifying cage. Yeah. So don't tell me no secrets, don't bring me no lies, don't give me no bullshit because I see all the skies. I don't need religion to control my fate. I believe in myself, in my own way. Blood is spinning, oh, digging myself in my own grave. I look to the sky, I don't know what to say. Will the rain comes falling over down on the sea? I don't believe in the freedom that should we have to pay. Ooh, but it only hurts you and me. Ooh, and I have broken free. Your pain took us down, it leaves me scars. I never knew that you never knew everybody, anybody. Don't tell me no secrets, don't bring me no lies, don't give me no bullshit, cause I see your disguise. Don't need religion to control my fate. I believe in myself, my all to create. All right, what's
check 1 2. Hopefully everybody can hear me. What's going on, guys? Thanks for joining us.
What's going on, Gfunk? How's it going? Thanks for everybody joining us live, archive the whole 9. Throw a chapter like button.
That's right, man. Play a little.
What's happening?
What's going on, guys? Figured I'd play a little home cooked funk for you guys right there. Glad to be here, man. Hope everybody had a good week, man. Hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. The whole 9, man. Tonight, man, I got a real good show for everybody. We're gonna talk about a topic that I've been trying to talk about for a long time, man. And I think that with the guys that I have on tonight, man, we'll have a real good conversation on how to fix boxing, man. We all know that boxing has a ton of problems. Just want to get some thoughts out there, share some opinions on it, man, and just see what we can do from there, man. So I want to introduce my panel. I'm going to start with my brother who I do shows with, Hispanics Causing Panic, my boy D-Style Boxing, man. What's good, bro?
What's going on, everybody? I'm just chilling. I'm chill. Like, you know what I mean? It's a Friday afternoon. Everyone, most people are still in quarantine, but let's get this talk going, man.
Right. And I got the brother from the Northern California, like myself, the Cali Enigma Sports and Entertainment, man. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Hey, what's happening, man? How you doing, fam?
I'm doing well, man. I hope you're doing good, man, and appreciate you
Oh, it's
coming
good.
on, man.
Oh, it's nothing, man. It's it's Friday, man. I got the next couple of days off, so I'm straight, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just killing time, man. Ain't you might as well talk boxing, man. And like there's nothing else going on right now. Ain't like we can watch basketball or baseball or football or anything. So
Right,
just
right.
let's talk about the problems of boxing, man.
Yeah, man. And last but certainly not least, a personal friend of mine, former amateur and professional boxer, Danny Savala. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Happy to be here, man. I'm like everyone else, quarantined out, trying to just love and spend my Friday doing something positive, talking fights, watching some old fights tonight. What's happening, everyone?
I'm right there with you, man. I've been watching a ton of old fights and a ton of old sports, trying to get past this thing we got going on, man. But so first on the plate, man, these shows, man, there's going to be quite a few shows, I think, on this, man. And if you guys want to join me in the next couple of shows, man, you guys are more than welcome to. But the first topic I want to talk about, man, is weight classes, man. Weight classes in boxing. Real quickly, if we can go over that. Originally, now, if I'm wrong, guys, please make sure to correct me on this, but we had 8 original divisions in boxing. And that was heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, and flyweight. What do you guys think, man? Do you think that we should go back to that, or should we keep all the juniors and all the super weight classes in between? We'll start with D-Style, man. Go ahead, bro.
I think it's a two-part, right? So here's how I feel. I got some feedback. I can hear an echo, but let's see. We're good now. Okay, check it out, man. Look, obviously, there's a lot of nuance to this answer. Do I believe there's too many weight classes today? I do. I do feel there's too many of them, and the main issue is just excessive weight classes, and then on top of that, excessive, belts and sanctioning bodies and all that. But just to stick to the weight classes, my short answer is yes, but I do believe that the weight classes, the way they stand today, and I'm talking about the original 8, at the weight where they're at, is outdated, right? So you got to remember, before there was any weight classes, there was no weight classes, and then they came up with the concept of middleweight, and then later on, I believe it was light heavyweight and lightweight, and then they started adding weight classes. Eventually, they established the original 8, and I feel like the actual weights where the weight classes are right now, if you were to move them, the weights themselves have to be moved. If you look at the average heavyweight today compared to the average heavyweight, and I'm talking size, weight, everything. They're I think the average weight now or height, I should say, is like 6'4", where just like 20 years ago, it was like 6'1". So, and I think the average human being just in general has gotten bigger than it did, 60, 70 years ago. So yes, we should go back to 8 weight classes. I don't know if 8 is the number. I don't know if that's, I'm not saying to stick to 8. I'm just saying we need less than we have now. But the actual weight classes themselves, like the numbers that they're at, have to change. The big problem for me is if you look at light heavyweight to cruiserweight, if there's somebody that can't make 175 anymore, bro, they're pretty much screwed. I mean, just think about it. They got to fight dudes that are weighing in at 200 and still rehydrating. I mean, just think about that. There's a huge no man's land there. And if we look at our cousin, I guess you could say UFC, they have a weight class at 185, and that was a weight class of Anderson Silva. It's a weight class that they actually participate in. Has a lot of participants in. Some of the best fights of all time were in that weight class. So I think we have to eliminate a lot of the weight classes in the bottom, and I think we need to just bump up a lot of the weights themselves up. Also, look at the number of participants. That there is some weight classes that only have like 200 participants, all the way down to flyweight and stuff like that. Whereas, you look at welterweight, it's almost 2,000 participants, in the world. So we have to kind of keep that in mind too. But overall, my answer is yes. We need less weight classes. I don't know if eight's the number, Gfunk. I'm not going to put a number out there, but less weight classes. But they do have to reassess where the numbers lie, in my opinion.
Okay. Nicely put, man. Callie, you want to go next, brother?
Yeah, me personally, I would eliminate weight classes, and the lowest weight class would be 120. I would go 120, 140, 160, 180, 200, and then 220 and above. And that would be it. That would be it. Each weight class is 20 pounds apart. If you want to jump up, you got to go up there, go play with the big boys. I think those weight classes are reasonable. Enough people can make them. If usually a lot of guys who fought at like 130 can make 140. If you feel like you're scared, then you can move down to 120. But I believe that weight class is reasonable, and the weight classes, anybody below that, it's just like I said, like D-Star says, not that many people in the weight class anymore. So I think that would stop a lot of the guys bouncing back and forth between weight classes, and it would also put those weight classes would be stacked, and I think people would be more likely to watch every weight class at that point, because there would be killers in every division. Because you're not gonna jumping from 160 to 180 is hell. Jumping from 120 to 140 is hell. Jumping from 140 to 160 is hell. You know what I'm saying? Jumping from 180 to 200 is hell. Jumping from 200 to 220, it's not going to be it's going to be dudes. You're going to be forced to actually be disciplined, and you have to make weight. So I think that would be a really, really good idea, in my opinion. 20 pounds apart, and it wouldn't you wouldn't have to. We would be forced to get some of these fights at that point.
I want to add something really quick. So, and I think this is like the challenging part of this, right? Because we're talking about how to fix boxing, and I get where you're coming from, Kelly. My only issue is, there is, guys out there that, 120 is heavy for them. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that, maybe 106, maybe it might be too low, but I do think like a guy like Ricardo, I don't know if Ricardo Lopez, as great of a fighter as he was, can be able to compete with somebody that weighs that much. You know what I mean?
Well, what you could do if you're concerned about that, then we can be generous and have a 110 division, and that we can't go beyond that, bro. I just go ahead.
Well, here's what I'm trying to say. The weight classes have to be separated by less the lower you go, because the pound to lightweight matters a lot more than a middleweight, for example. And that's the issue I have with 175. Like, a guy can't make 175 anymore. He's got to fight guys that are making 200 and then rehydrating. So I still think like somewhere around 8 to 10 weight classes is something that could be done. I just think that's too few weight classes, in my opinion, the way you have it structured for the most part, I think.
Okay. Danny, so you are the one guy here on this panel that's actually had experience in the ring, is actually had to make some weight, So let's hear your opinion. And we got Big Dog Willie in the house too. Shout out to Big Dog Willie. I'll let you burn as soon as Danny's finished giving us his opinion. So Danny, you go ahead, man. Let us know what you think, man. Are you okay with the weight classes we have now? Should there be less? Should there be more than what we have now? And just let us know, bro.
I think it's like a multi-prong answer, right? Like we're all kind of around the same area where there's too many divisions, but also the too many is separated by lower versus the heavyweights, like the cruiserweights. Um, how many great? I mean, and you couple that with demand and like who really gives a shit, right? Like cruiserweights for heavyweights and super heavyweights. You've got lineal heavyweight champions that, for the most part, are 5 to 6 to 10 pounds away from each other. Whether they're making weight or showing up, overweight after hydrating, they're all the same, right? Um, there's certain fighters, like obviously a Roy Jones, who's just a tremendous athlete, tremendous fighter, but probably couldn't survive um, as a true heavyweight because there's no limit, right? And you imagine Roy Jones fighting a Tyson Fury. That's where it gets kind of, but that's it's the exception. There's not very many Roy Jones. You go all the way to extreme. You look at Manny Pacquiao. I don't remember where Manny Pacquiao started, but I'm pretty sure he was like way in like 115, I think.
106, yeah.
Yeah, and look at how heavy he fought. So as he grows, as he matures, and the money fights are there, his body can handle it. I think you would eliminate some of that cruiserweight division, and then you go down to some of the juniors and the supers in the lower weights, because most of these lower weight fights, they're fighting at catch weights now, and they're making weight, which is unhealthy. They're making weight from the scale, but we all know this. They all show up well above the fight weight limit, right? Somewhere's up to 20 pounds. So like, let's not kid each other. Like a featherweight is not a featherweight. He's really like a welterweight. I weigh in at 126 pounds and then show up at 142, 143. There's no reason for me to suck my body all the way down to 126 if I'm walking around at 142, 143.
Right.
Oh, did you know Josh Taylor? I was going to say, did you know that Josh Taylor, when he weighs it at 140, fight night he comes in between 154, 160? I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, a lot of fighters.
Can I present, like, before Big Dog Willie goes, and I want to ask Savara about this because he's actually been a boxer. So I want to ask you this. I've always proposed the following. I've always said we need less weight classes, but the only way that can work is if we do same day weigh-ins, like they did before same day weigh-ins came back.
Yeah,
it is, and now people always say, well, you can't do that because people, they're dehydrated. They can fight that way. But I've always said, well, they wouldn't be dehydrating themselves, at least not that much, if they have a fight in a couple hours. Do you have any opinion about that? Same day weigh-in?
Yeah. In California,
before I say one thing before you go, or you could just fight in your natural weight class, like how much you actually weigh. That would just seems to be that can change a lot of things too. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
I mean, I think everyone's bodies are different, right? So I don't think there's one. Let's take like 147 for example. Like, so you're talking about 142 upwards of 160. Those two men who are give and take between 142 and 160, I think somewhere in the middle, these are the same type of men, right? Some of them blow up bigger. Ultimately, I think the reason you take a step all the way back and why we have divisions and all the way back into the amateurs, and that safety culture first and foremost kind of trickles its way into the pro ranks now. Like in California, when I was fighting in California, I remember hating the fact that California moved to same day weigh-ins. I don't know if they're doing 24 hours again, but they were testing, and that sucked. It sucked for me because I struggled making weight even as an amateur. In the amateurs, one of the things that they do is they have, you always had a weight allowance, 5 pounds up or down, and it was always like a coach's discretion. In the pros, it was the same thing. If you had a contract to come in at 126 and you didn't come in at 26, they could make you lose the few pounds, or you can pay a little money from your purse. But there was this general give and take, but you have an allowance. Everyone understands that. There has to be a way that we can find a safe alternative to where fighters. I hate the fact that fighters have to kill themselves. The shit that I did to my body to make weight, like, it's insane. Like, why I would never train a young man or a fighter to do what I had to do. But it's the athlete mentality that could ultimately hurt us. But we have to find a way to find these healthy weights where everyone can make a weight and still be healthy, because they're doing it anyways. I told a story last time of my buddy Mike Sims, who was a world-class, world-ranked amateur, made the 2000 Olympic team, makes his pro debut. No, he has like a second or third pro fight, and the guy he's fighting is like 30 pounds below him and weighing on the scales with boots and his clothes on after eating lunch. And Mike is, in the sauna. It's just so unfair. We have to find a way to make guys fight at their natural weights, but also not, and keep in mind that you have the Roy Jones anomalies where you have these ultra talented middleweights that can't make it as heavyweight.
Right. That's a great point there. And we had, of course, back in the day, the great Sugar Ray Robinson, who was proclaimed the first pound for pound king in boxing because he was able to do the same thing Roy was, jump around and make weights and still do his thing, whether it be welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, AJ10 here has proposed his idea of 10 weight classes. We got 112, 118, 126, 135, 145, 158, 170, 185, 200. And then above that, I guess, would be heavyweight. I think that's what he's trying to say. But we got Big Dog Willie here in the house. You've been waiting patiently. Appreciate that, man. So before you go, man, hope you're feeling better, man.
What's good? What's up? What's up, Callie?
All right, man.
What's up, Callie? What's up? Hey, so I think there should be like 8 weight classes, man. There's way too many fucking weight classes. Like if you weigh less than 116 pounds, shouldn't be fighting. I'm sorry. Like you shouldn't be fighting. If you weigh less than 116 pounds, you shouldn't be fighting. And that's being very generous for me. I think 116 to 130 to 135. I get the 135. I get 130, 135 because that's like kind of like the glory weight. Then goes straight to 147, then to 156 and 160. My fault. 160, 168, and 165, and then from there I go 200. And that's probably not 8. I'm kind of lit up, but that's probably not. But honestly, it's there's too many weight classes, man. I don't understand. Like people, like we, like men, grown men. I don't care how small you are, something like that, but you can weigh over 100 fucking pounds. You don't be 104 pounds. I mean, they're fucking midgets. If you're 104 pounds, you're a fucking midget, and you need to eat some more food to get up to 160 pounds to fight. That's fucking ridiculous.
And no one cares. Name the last great 105. I mean, no one cares. Who gives a shit about the division?
I don't know. I don't know anybody 105 pounds. I don't know anybody who's 105 pounds.
There is like a little group out here, like YouTubers that pretend to care, because they like to act like they're the real fans that watch all the weight classes. But man, nobody.
That's flea weight, G. It's flea weight, D style. Flea weight.
There's actually a new weight class called atom weight, which was introduced a couple years ago, which was insane. Now, I'll be honest, I don't have an issue with it though. Like if dudes 106 pounds want to fight each other, it's all good.
No. There is an issue with that because they should be fighting on like in a circuit issue. Like they should go to Ringling and start fighting each other. There is an issue with that. There is an issue with that.
I tell you what, if they have a division for guys that weigh like around 100 pounds, we should call them the paper champions.
The real paper champions.
But how many of you guys think that if you had, let's say you had a whole card of guys weighing 105 pounds, what kind of ratings do you think that would do?
Nobody.
I gotta be honest. The reason I'm saying really, the reason I'm saying Ricardo Lopez was there. You know what I mean? And people cared about Ricardo Lopez. He brought money.
This style. You're talking about one fighter. You're talking about one fighter.
No, what I'm saying now, do I think Ricardo was talented? Like if there was a 112 division, I think he would have still been champion. I think he was that good. So it wouldn't really affect him because he was that talented. But there has been guys talented, that are.
I know, but they can move up. They can move up if they're that talented.
Like every 30 years, because before Ricardo Lopez, there was Michael Carbajal, right?
I remember
those are a 30-year difference.
If there was a 112 limit, I think Carbajal would have been good for that division. He would have still been a champion, I think. I mean, so
Or like, why
Same here.
didn't Lopez ever jump up and fight Pacquiao or jump up and fight Terrible Eric Morales at 118? Like, there was never even like an idea that would have happened.
yeah.
They were the same
I
era.
gotta say this, because I've seen at the those fights, the 105-pound fights usually come on after main events, whether it's a pay-per-view or whether it's any type of event, right? So when I've been to LA, been to Fresno, and they've had fights after, and you usually see the little flyweight, right? Man, I'm swear to God, man, I've seen Raiderettes. I've seen Cowboy Girls. I swear to God, they're bigger than them dudes, bro. They are bigger, and I think that those little cheerleaders, like the dance girls, are small. They are way bigger than them dudes, man. Those are some little ass people, man.
Ricardo Lopez is still the man, though. That's those.
Oh, definitely. Top 10 Mexican champion of all time for sure.
He's a great fighter, but you can still blow him over if you just blow.
No, I agree, and in fairness, he was talented enough that if there was, let's say 112 was the limit, I still think he would have been the champ.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe he doesn't finish his career undefeated or something, but I still think he would have been a champ.
But
Right.
But like I said, that's like an anomaly. It's back to like the Roy Jones things. How many, like, look how talented Roy Jones is, and I'm gonna say it. I think Roy Jones is a talented fighter, one of the best I've ever seen. But you can never judge his greatness because it wasn't never known in his division. He was a cruiserweight, or middleweight cruiserweight. Who did he fight that was really great?
I agree.
And then when he did step up, man, he got knocked out.
Well, he did. He beat James.
He was old. He was old.
Reflexes. Once his reflex was gone, it was over for Roy.
Yeah,
everybody knew. But everybody knew.
Yeah,
and I love Roy Jones, man. I'm not even trying to knock Roy Jones, but
something said. But everybody knew when Roy Jones once his reflexes went away, they knew he was going to get beat. I mean, that was just common sense because he didn't really have. He lacked a lot of fundamentals, but he didn't need them because he had otherworldly reflexes.
He was a great athlete. He was probably one of the best athletes. He's a great athlete. Yeah.
I want to go back to the weight classes here, because I get the point of, man, making weight the same day is crazy. But I think that if there isn't that many weight classes, like fighters used to do it all the time until the 80s. You know what I mean? Like same thing Wayne.
Yeah.
Right. So the culture, like if you go back and you look at the welterweights, now I'm not just making this up. People go to BoxRec all the time. Okay, all the YouTube historians always go to BoxRec. Okay, you guys can go to BoxRec and look it up for yourself. Look at the welterweights, the middleweights, the lightweights, right? The featherweights. Look at all those fighters, right? That were fighting like in the 50s, the 40s, the 30s. They never weighed the same or on the dot on the scale. Very rarely did they weigh in at 135 for a lightweight fight. They would weigh in below it.
Yeah.
Just the culture, the fighting culture was just different. First of all, they were very active, so they were always fighting.
Sometimes they fought twice a week.
It's kind of ridiculous, right? Like I don't think we want fighters doing that today, but what I'm saying is if they could change the culture, I think it would be effective, but I think that the only way to do that is to change the mentality that everybody has about weigh-ins, in my opinion.
I agree, man. I think that if boxing was, now this is a big if, let me let my boy Danny back on. We lost him for a second. This is a big if now. If they were to say, you know what, let's do away with a lot of these divisions. I am a fan of same day weigh-ins because I think that, and like my boy Danny said, it's difficult to make weight. If these guys just fought around their natural weight, they stayed in shape, because a lot of these guys in between fights, they blow up, and then they go back in the gym, they got to lose 40 to 50 pounds. Some of these dudes, like, it's just not healthy, man. And, we heard it from a guy who's experienced that. He's done some crazy things to his body to make weight. I think that the best, for me, in my opinion, the best solution would be to get these guys, the number of weight classes down, get them to fight at the divisions where they're naturally at, so they could just focus on training instead of training, dieting, losing weight, all that type of stuff. I think
what I knew.
fights.
I saw an interview from Oscar De La Hoya like a while back, and he said when he was at 130, he said that the day before a fight, like he was hungry, but like he still had to make the weight. And his coach cut. He said, "My coach cut an orange in half and let me suck on it a little bit. Then he threw it away."
Yeah, there ain't a grown man out there who's healthy who's 130 pounds. You know, like
not Oscar was.
And
Oscar
that's
was
what
almost
I'm
6'2"
saying. G-Style, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Those low
even at
weights are ridiculous.
147. But think about like it's important to like if the weight divisions, right? Think about guys like Andre Ward and De La Hoya and Felix Trinidad. Had there been no 47, 54, whatever, and they just those three guys could have fought each other at a weight somewhere in the middle. But
Right,
they're so in these weight class and these divisions where it's like if you did the research and you looked at every fight, every time they defended their title, what their actual weight was the day they fought, it's probably like relatively the same.
To add to your point, another problem, and it's you know how and boxing is a dangerous sport, and unfortunately we lose fighters every year. But the reality is, very very rarely are they from the higher weight classes. It's usually a lot of the lower weight classes, and I think dehydration has a lot to do with it.
I agree.
Right.
We
Hey,
lose
you
a
know,
lot of fighters every year.
you know what you guys just remind me of. I remember we were talking about Zerto Gilberto Ramirez and Callum Smith are two dudes. Well, Callum Smith, I think when he fought Carlos Endom, he entered the ring at almost 200 pounds, and then he was fighting at 168. Zerto in his first fight at 174 blew up to 200 pounds after he weighed in. These guys are fucking heavyweights, bro. These dudes are heavyweights, basically, man. You know what I mean? So these dudes, they don't belong at the weight classes that they're in. They're squeezing down to lower weight classes. These are big dudes. These dudes are walking around about 6'2", 6'3". They need to be at either a cruiserweight or heavy. That's what I think.
It's strategy for the fighters too, because I'm about 5'4". Now I can either go all the way down to 118 and fight guys my size, or where I'm strong. But it's a strategy. Like if you can make 135, if you can make 132, make it. But you're gonna blow up and you're gonna be bigger than this, man. You know what I mean? So and that's part of it too. It's just like one, where the monies are in each division, and two, from a competitive advantage. You know, a lot of amateurs like you learn to train, but you also learn to make weight. You know your body. As an amateur, I knew I had an average weight loss of 7 pounds per workout. Right. That means that I can lose 7 pounds a day, give or take. Right. And so given approaching fight week, you're doing that, right? You're keeping your weight. You got to make 126, but you're at 132. You're good. You know, you're just going to go into the sauna. You're going to jump some rope with some plastic, do what you got to do. And fighters just adjust to that. They make that adjustment, and it's almost cheating the game themselves. That's not their true weight.
What do you think about? I want to ask you something real quick as a boxer. What do you think about a fight where Callum Smith outweighed Carlos Endom by 30 pounds? What do you think about that?
I think there should be. I think as a manager or even as a state athletic commission, there should be limitations, because they do weigh you, and they weigh you for a reason. You should not. One, that says that tells you one thing, that your fighter is going into the ring tonight. So he was severely dehydrated 24 hours ago, right? And he's putting himself in harm. I think athletic commissions independently should do something about that. But as you get these bigger name fights with these bigger promoters, and the dollars are more important than people's health, and that's how it is. In the amateurs, you couldn't do that. In the amateurs, they check that shit the day, even on a 2-3 day tournament, they check your weight day before. They want to make sure that you're drinking your water, you're staying hydrated. It's dang, because at the end of the day, if that fighter was dehydrated that much, like, man, he's gonna be in trouble.
Yeah,
I think here's my thing. Like, do you support? You as a boxer, do you support rehydration clauses like like the IPF does? So you can't go like 10 pounds over what the scale was or something like that the day of the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most fighters would agree to that. But to say that it's just a culture of, even through the amateurs, is you're accustomed to, having a 5-pound weight allowance everywhere you go, up or down. It took me. I remember one time I came in overweight, and it was like at the very lower level, when you want to be great, you're not fighting for money, right? You're just trying to get, you're getting the money, you're getting the experience. But I was telling a story before that. I was overweight, and the other guys were like, "Oh, go lose it," and I was like, "No, I'm not. I'll give you $100, but I'm not gonna go fucking like kill myself." They needed the money more than I did, right? I wasn't fighting for money. I would tell them, go home, don't get paid. And that was my, like, I guess, competitive advantage at the time. But there are a lot of these fighters who, they need the money. They show up from Tijuana or wherever they come from, and they need this $1,000 check they're gonna get, and it's like, it don't matter what I weigh. I'm just gonna pay him another couple $100, and he'll still fight me. It's a health problem too. And the athletic commissions, California was pretty strict. I wouldn't say strict, but they took. I mean, in my experience, California had always done the best to protect their fighters. Whereas, hey man, that shit's, I've seen fights called because guys were too heavy.
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to do that.
While we're on this topic, I'm gonna have to lift a ban just one time on my channel, because I've banned Chavez Jr. from ever being mentioned here on my channel. All right, but I have to mention him now because he's one of those guys that literally killed himself to make weight. I mean, I remember watching the weigh-in for the Sergio Martinez fight. This dude walked out to the scale. I swear to God, man, he looked like one of those dudes that was dying from AIDS or something. Like, not to make fun of people that have that disease, but he did not look healthy. And as soon as he got, he came in, he looked frail. He was all pale. His lips were chapped. As soon as he got off the scale, he's just sucking down Pedialyte like a bottomless pit. Like, that's just completely unhealthy, man.
By the way, he wants to rematch with Danny Jacobs and Canelo. I don't know, just to let you guys know that. That's what he said.
and Chavez Jr. is just a straight up bitch. Excuse my language.
He's a bitch.
Yeah, he's a bitch. Yeah. So it's like I want to have some sympathy for him, right? But it's like, whether he's on weight, healthy or not, he just don't have a quarter of the heart his dad had. And
you mean discipline? He has zero discipline. And he doesn't listen to his coaches. He skips out on training camps. And one time he skipped off on training camp, they found him smoking weed. I mean, this dude's a fucking clown, dude.
And here's another problem with him. How many times have we seen this guy come in, have a fight, train for the fight, can't make weight, he's way above the weight. They got to move the weight for this guy the week of the fight. That's ridiculous.
Regularly.
Yeah. Yes, that's ridiculous.
Well, he has privileges that he inherited. He didn't earn. He inherited. But
his daddy's got his daddy's name. That's the only. If he didn't have that name, no one would give a shit about this dude.
Like, if his name, look, bro. If his name was Jose Luis de la Torre from like Tijuana, like, he was not related to Chavez Jr. or Senior, I should say, nobody would care about this guy. Right?
Nobody.
I think that goes to like that topic of the sport in general and weight classes and fights. The sport itself, not that the sport is evolving, but fandom has evolved. And I'm going to use Ryan Garcia as an example, as one of the younger fighters who has a big social media presence, has a really good amateur record. I've been watching him on Instagram for years, right? Even before, as an amateur. And was waiting. I'm watching the Vargas kids, right? I don't give a shit what weight they fight. I'm gonna buy their ticket. I'm gonna buy the pay-per-view. And these guys, these up-and-coming fighters like the Garcias and Ryan Garcia and the Vargas brothers, and historically like De La Hoya, where it doesn't matter anymore what weight division you are or what belt you have. If you're a big enough fighter and and people want to come see you fight, there'll be catch weights for you to fight at. It doesn't even matter if you're fighting for a title. You got two good fighters who have people who want to watch them fight. I think that's a good thing. That's kind of where we're going, and it'll have an impact on weight classes and divisions and what the sanctioning bodies do. Because At some point, De La Hoya was the first one to stop paying his sanction fee to the WBC because didn't no one fucking watch the WBC fight. They watched the De La Hoya fight.
Great point. Big Dog Willie, you want to chime in, man?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like Ryan Garcia and like, I'll be very honest with you. I walk to the store right now, but I'll be honest with you. Like, the belts, they don't mean shit.
They don't.
No, they don't. I really honestly like this whole thing with Wilder and Fury and AJ and Fury asking Wilder to like take a what do they call it, the step aside money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if I were Wilder, I'd say give me 100 million. I'll step aside. Why shouldn't I? Because the belt don't mean shit.
Belt don't mean nothing.
Right now, they're giving you no legacy. They're giving you no legacy to have a belt.
Right, and we're gonna touch on that after we move on from the weight divisions. But hey, you guys got any final thoughts? Anything on?
I'll tell you one thing about the belts.
Hey, Big Dog, can you mute yourself, Big Dog Willie? Because
I got him. Okay.
I remember being in the gym when Oleg Moskaev moved to Sacramento. Oleg Moskaev was the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. And he's in the gym hitting the bag, and really nice guy. But I remember looking at his belt and thinking, this is the fucking belt that Tyson had, that Ali had, right? That all these greats had. And I'm looking at Oleg Moskaev and I'm thinking, fuck, he ain't shit.
oh,
And
man,
it's like, it's
no soul best guy.
you know? And it was a shame to me. I was so sad for boxing that day.
I remember he knocked the hell out of Rockman, knocked him through the damn
Yeah.
rope.
I was like, and again, man, I'm not like,
you guys got me.
Was a good.
Hold up. All four of Moskaev's fans have unsubbed to.
No, because every time I think of Moskaev, I think of the Kirk Johnson fight, and it's just like, cause you can just hear Jim Lampley and everyone's thinking like, okay, it's a matter of time. All has a matter of time for Kirk Johnson gets knocked out, and Kirk Johnson just caught him with a fucking straight left, bro. Like, he hit it well. It looked like he almost landed it luckily, but he didn't. He set it up well, and he had him doing the drunk dance, man. I was like, oh shit, this fight is about to be over. I knew it when I saw him get caught. He never saw it, and then he just finished him, bro. He just fucking cleaned him up. Now that was a hell of a shot, man. It's like Kirk Johnson. That's like journeyman Kirk Johnson. But he wasn't a journeyman then, but
Yo, shout out to Moskaev, bro.
Yes.
But that was my feeling. Like, I wasn't like, oh, the heavyweight champ. That wasn't my thought. He had the belt with him at the gym. The belt was sitting there, and my whole thought was, fuck, are you serious? This the motherfucker who's representing the WBC? You know, this is the belt that Ali had.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Moskaev, bro. What do you mean?
Hey, that guy. Hey, like him or not, that dude had some power. You know, and
he was a heavyweight, Chief.
Yeah, we know. I was just gonna say that. We know the heavyweight division, man. All it takes is one solid shot, man.
Yeah, but when you say, man, that dude's got power, like about a heavyweight, bro, that's like half of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
I mean,
Butterbean had power.
Yeah, it's shocking though, because you look at him, like Danny said, you look at him, you're like, damn, this dude ain't shit. But yeah, something lands. Even same thing with Corey Saunders when he knocked out Vladimir Klitschko. That was one of the greatest days of my life, man. Because everybody knows that knows me knows I did not like the Klitschkos, mostly Vladimir. But
I'll say this
great.
though. Let me say this about in defense of the Klitschkos, okay? If we didn't have the Klitschkos all those years, everybody complains, oh, we had the Klitschkos. If we didn't have the Klitschkos, a bunch of Moskaevs, okay, will be having titles, all right, for those years.
Yeah. What's that one American, though? The David Reed. There was another American who wasn't that good. He boxed a lot, though. I forgot his name.
Tony Thompson or?
No.
Michael Grant?
It might have been Michael. We had like those guys would have been the champ. without the Klitschko.
I thought he
Yeah,
was going to
but
be the champ. I'm not going to lie.
what I'm saying is, whether you
Right.
think they were born or not, they were still quality boxers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
I just didn't appreciate the style, the
but
hit.
I had no issue with the Klitschko's. I'm a fan of the Klitschko. I don't mind admitting it.
I couldn't stand watching those dudes fight, man. But I want to move on to the next topic, which is the belts. Since we Big Dog Willie brought it up, but I'm gonna go to him first since he's got some background noise. Big Dog Willie, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you, bro. But let me know your final thoughts, man, on weight divisions, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very real with you. The belts, I mean, after Mayweather, goddamn, fucking on a freeway or something. After Mayweather, and it's proof to everybody that you don't need a belt to make money. There's no need. I'll be honest. There's no need to have a belt. If you're popular enough, there's no need to have a belt. I'll be very real with you.
Right, I'm there with you, man. D-Style, final thoughts, man, on weight divisions.
Bro, I think we have weight, like, I don't know if we all agree on how but we all agree that we have way too many weight classes. That we agree with. I don't think anyone on here said, we need more, or keep them the way they are. I think we all agree, way too many weight classes. If we had the same amount of weight classes that let's say, just as an example, the UFC has, we'd be all right. I mean, honestly, what I mean? Like, they don't have that many weight classes, really. So
No.
So even if you want to have a little bit more, that's fine. But in the end, we need to stop adding weight classes. I know there's people that want to add a super heavyweight division, okay, which would be a travesty.
That's Mauricio Solomon.
Yeah, dude, like, are you kidding me? Who the hell, if you do that, I mean, there just isn't that many big dudes like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for you to do a whole division on. So we don't need to add weight classes. We need to subtract some weight classes. And how we get there, I think there's some disagreements, but overall, we all agree.
Right. Callie, final thoughts, bro. Weight divisions.
Well, since I'm talking about WC real quick, I'm gonna be very quick. Heard that WC wants to come out with the Emerald belt, so that's just something else that they're talking about. But
what?
The WC Emerald belt.
What the hell does that mean?
I don't know, bro. You gotta ask him.
It's like the youth title.
It's money, bro. Y'all know he all about paper, man. Mauricio Solomon is all about the money.
Oh,
period.
Yeah. Well, what happened to, like, this belt is a champion's belt because he's the best in the weight class? What happened to that?
He said, "Fuck that pay." Mauricio Solomon said, "Fuck you, pay me."
Fuck you, pay me. Is right.
We be crooks. We be crooks, bro.
He's like, "Give me my money, man. Give me my money." That's what he said. Give me my money. But yeah, man. We definitely need less divisions. That's something that can be coming up. We can have like some type of board to adjust the weights. Maybe we can actually take a year to do like a scientific study to find out the optimum weight for the average fighter, optimal weight classes for the average fighter, and we can create the weight classes that way. That's why we can give fighters on average a better chance to fight at their peak performance.
So I'm just thinking about it. Like, I've lost a lot of weight. Obviously, I used to be like a big dude. I lost a lot of weight. And dude, I'm 191 pounds, like soaking wet right now. Okay.
Right.
I cannot imagine, and I'm 5'10". I cannot imagine going all the way down. I just can't. Going all the way down to like 140 pounds.
No, that would not be healthy.
Yeah. But I see fighters that are 5'10", bro, that are 5'10", weighing in 140 pounds, bro.
Well, we got a 6'7" fighter fighting at 154. So I mean, just
yes,
you guys, it's just ridiculous, bro. You're 6'7". You're 6'7", bro. Get out of here.
Dude, sounds like same height as Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and he's fighting at
At junior middleweight, bro.
Oh my gosh, that is insane.
What was his name again? I think his name was
He fought on the undercard, right, of the Fury.
Yeah, Fedora.
Yeah,
Fedora.
yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
Him. Yeah, he's Cuban and Mexican, bro. Like, fucking 6'7", 154 pounds. He looks frail as fuck. I can see like rib cage, dude. That does not look healthy. It doesn't look healthy to look like this dude looking skinnier. He making Kevin Durant, who looks like a fucking stick, look like he has muscle on him and shit, bro. And Kevin Durant, when he walks around, is like, look at them stick legs right there. I see him, man. Where everybody talking about Wilder, fucking Kevin Durant's a stick, and this dude makes Kevin Durant look like he's heavy. That says a lot. Man, come on, man.
Dude,
you can't tell me that's healthy.
Bro, when I saw that, dude, I wanted to buy some Burger King, bro. I was like,
dude, I seen Kevin Durant back when he was still playing with OKC at Arco Arena against the Kings. And if you get there early, you can go down there and get autographs from these guys. So, I always try to do that. Let me tell you, man, this dude's arms look like damn spaghetti sticks, bro. Like they are just tiny. Danny, go ahead, Danny. Let us know your final thoughts, man, on weight divisions, and then we'll move on to the belt topic.
I think it all comes down to money, man. If you think and you consider boxing as a worldwide sport, places like Japan and other parts of Asia, where these guys are just smaller, and these divisions, we may not see it, but it's one of these things where these divisions are big there, and the sport of boxing, it has a presence in a place like Osaka, Japan. And even in India, there's a big presence in boxing in India, and a lot of these fighters are smaller. And I'm not a big fan of strawweight, flyweight boxing, but as a promoter or someone, I mean, if you have these fighters, you want to always bring a good, exciting, someone, but I don't know, man. I just think,
okay, then keep
take
dwarf
that in
fighting.
consideration. Also consider the health and the athletic commissions and what they say in 50 different states. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, keep dwarf fighting in Japan then, bro.
What was that?
Keep the midgets fighting over there in Japan.
Yeah, but it's big. Osaka, Japan was huge. Willie Joran from West Sacramento fought Asuma Sato out there. It was like 40,000 people to come watch him fight.
I guess I don't hate the lower weight as much as some others do. I mean, I respect everybody's opinion, but I do agree that there's too many of the weight classes down there, though. Yeah. They're separated by dude, I take shits that way more than that.
Okay, D-Style, how would you feel if they came with a weight that started at 93 pounds?
I mean, at that point, that's ridiculous, right? But I'm okay with like what do you guys say, like 110 pounds, and then from there you could go I would say like 116. I wouldn't go all the way to 120 right there, but then from there you could go to 126 and then 135, 147. But they do got to cut back, bro. And look, all you have to do, if we're all honest, right? The lower the weight class a guy starts, the more likely he is to win more more titles, in different weight classes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't start, like Pacquiao's record, if someone's like a natural 160 pounder, even if they become heavyweight champion of the world, they're not going to win that many weight classes because they don't exist. Like, they don't have that many weight classes to compete in. So I just think that there's obviously an imbalance with the weight classes, but yes, it's going to take, some people to kind of do some studies, and like Callie said, get the optimum weights and stuff like that. I would keep rehydration clauses for the day after. I would even go as far as to, maybe this is a stretch, but look, man, if a fighter, well, you know what? Let's, because we're going to talk about the belts anyway, so I'll just end it right there. I'll end it with that.
I think that's a great idea. And it shouldn't be that difficult to do. Like what Callie said, do a study and see what is the best, weight for some of these guys to where they can fight and still be healthy and not have to kill themselves to make weight. For me, that's the best thing, man, is to get these guys to fight where they're naturally at, and if you can't hang, you can't hang,
Is it fair to say that middleweight should be where the average dude is, and then everything below and above that, they could establish weight classes from there. You know.
Yeah, but can we believe say that everybody at 147 can fight at 160? I think so.
Yeah,
I think so too.
So it depends, right, Kelly? Like, let's say, what if it's a guy that moved up a bunch of weight classes, like Pacquiao or something?
Oh, like Terrence Crawford, maybe that may be too much for him. But Earl Spencer, Sean Porter,
Easy.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they said Danny Garcia was just weighing like 175. So I know he can. But then again, Terrence Crawford was weighing like 173 at one point. So fuck yeah, he can make it. He can make 160. I'm not discounting all them dudes at 147 can make 160, man. Even though dudes at 140 can make 160. Because I've seen them do Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is not little. I've stood next to him. He's a kid that can easily weigh 160. Same thing on Josh Taylor, Regis Poirier, even though he's in the short. He's not a little guy, stocky guy. He can make 160. He fought at 165. He fought at 160.
Right. Look, if we go by the same day weigh-in era, these guys would be middleweights. Yep. Some of them welterweights, right? I get it, but I mean, you what you have to factor in is, can they fight at 160? Yes, but the guys at 160 could be fighting at 168, 170.
They could all fight at 175, bro. Jamal Charlo and Canelo and all them dudes can fight at 175.
Light heavyweight, easy.
175 easy, bro.
Yeah.
Well,
and you know what else makes me crazy? Since we're on the topic of the weight classes, and we all agree here, too many. These guys still want to do catch weights with all these, with all these weight classes. They still want to do catch weights. Like, that's just amazing to me.
Yeah, catch weight should be eliminated, bro. It should be illegal.
Absolutely.
So, I've always said this, right? If two fighters agree to a catch weight, and it's not for a title, I've never had an issue with it, right? Because both sides agree to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
However, I always believe that if you're putting a bigger man in a catch weight, there's
it's a disadvantage. Yeah.
There's an asterisk there. We have to question it a little bit. You know what I mean?
And I think that if we're on the topic of that, we'll chime in on that real quickly before we go to the next topic. My other issue with catch weights is not only is it always the bigger man who's at the disadvantage because he's going to have to drop more weight, obviously. But a lot of the times we see that the smaller guy, he won't even make the damn catch weight. He'll be underneath the weight, Like, I think that if it's going to be a catch weight in between divisions, both guys have to make that weight. That's what I think.
I think there's a confusion there. Look, I actually don't agree with that. So if a guy weighs under the weight limit, because that's a weight limit, you know what I mean? And maybe you could argue a catch weight isn't a weight limit, but I believe it is. It just means you both agree that you're both not going to weigh over that limit. So I've never had an issue with a guy weighing under the weight. If they want to weigh under the weight, that's if a guy just for whatever the reason is, like I don't want to put on too much muscle mass, or I don't want I want to keep some speed, whatever it is, I'm okay with it, to be honest.
If there's no belt, like you said,
the smaller guys, if I'm at 126, but all the money's at 135, and or there's a guy at 147, and you remember a couple years ago when the welterweight division was weak, right? No one was really there, and all the shit was happening down in the lightweight division.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make those fights without catch weights? And for the lighter guys, you want the guy to be able to come down somewhere around 142, 140, and then you come up, to 140 from 132.
But here's the thing, though: if you eliminate some of the weight from the weight classes, we won't have that issue anymore. We won't have a lack of talent in division. That would get rid of that overnight. No more one guy destroying the whole division with nobody in it. That just won't happen anymore. So that's why it's important. It'll be important to reduce or eliminate some of the weight classes, so we could force the competition in all these weight classes. I'm telling you, every weight division will be good. We've had great fights.
Is there a place right now in boxing division wise? Is there a place division wise where and I'll just say, and I'll ask you this: let's take 147. Is that a division packed with talent right now?
Yes, it is. And think about if there was wasn't at 147, we put everybody at one. Everybody who's at 147 and 154, 147 and 154 combined right now, because we could do that. And both
Right
divisions are very talented right now. And what if we combine collapse 147 into 160? What if the same
who would be
guys
the
at 140?
champ?
So every weight class from like anywhere up like 147 to like 160. Although there's going to be some years where there's a downtime, but those weight classes have 140 to 160 have the most participants in the world, right? Like they double the amount of participants worldwide. So it doesn't tell you everything, but I think it just makes it more than likely that you're going to have more talent there because you just have a bigger pool. And also those weight classes, they're just in that perfect spot. You know what I mean? Where there's enough power where they can knock each other out, but they're also not like super slow, like cruiserweights and heavyweights. There's enough speed, the skills there. Like they have everything. And if you look at the pound per pound list from the last 30, 40 years, it's guys 140 to 160. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you imagine that? What if we combined 140 to 160 right now? Look at that division, right? Think about that division right now. 140 to 160, that's criminal.
You got middleweight, junior middleweight, welterweight, super welterweight.
Look at all the talent. Look at all the talent in that division, right away. That's you want everyone to talk. I'm like, there's no excuse to not make all those fights. There's too many fights to make at that point. Too many fights. Man, there's no excuse for you fighting a bum. I'm just saying, no excuse at all for you fighting someone.
You know what? In fairness, it's. I mean, that would be, I guess, you would call the middleweight division, but. I mean, look, at heavyweight, guys are undersized all the time. Like Mike Tyson was undersized, but he still won the heavyweight championship of the world. You know what I mean?
Fact.
So I don't know, but I'm definitely dying to get into this belt talk.
Yes, and AJ10, great comment here. 135, 140. If you combine that, oh my God, there's a ton. I mean, 135 right now.
Well, hold on. Why can't we combine 130 and why can't we collapse 130 to 140? I'm dead ass serious.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really great ideas, man. I think combining.
I mean, if we keep it real, Kelly. I mean, look, when you had the original 8, that's how it basically was. Like you know what I mean. Bantamweight. A guy at 135 had to go to a welterweight, and at welterweight you had to go to middleweight. You know what I mean? Like there was no way around it. So it's the way I see it.
I think it should happen. I think it needs to be collapsed down, bro. I mean, you could change it. You don't have to be 147 or nothing like that. Maybe you can add 3 pounds or 5 pounds. I don't know.
Ray Robinson was considered the best, if not one of the best of all time. I mean, you just go through. Look, when he moved up from welterweight to middleweight, he didn't weigh in 160 on the scale. Dude was at one high, like 149, 152, 154. Like he was weighing in under the limit, but he wasn't weighing in at the scale. It was just a different time.
Yeah, I mean, but I believe the guys that he fought, they were able to make their weight comfortably. So it wasn't like they had to move down or something like that.
But no, because people fought. A lot of people fought around their weight.
Yeah,
those guys were fighting, bro. They were fighting 3-4 times a month. They couldn't be like dehydrating themselves and all that. You know what I mean?
They would be more healthier. I think the fights would be much better. But let's move on, man, because I know what these.
Hold on, let me say this real quick. Remember, D-Star, when I read that to you, Sugar Ray Robinson, he had fought like 14 times within 13 months, man. Fucking like 14, 15 times within 13 months.
That's amazing and ridiculous. But I will, in all fairness, though, knowing everything we know about the damage boxing causes to the body, I don't know if I want to go back to that though.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying how the work rate. When people talking with guys, are like, "Oh man, he was active. He fought twice last year." People get excited about seeing a dude fight more than one twice. You're like, "Get the fuck out of here, dude! You guys don't know what active is."
I grew up with Chavez Senior boxing every 6 weeks, bro.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, that's why Sugar Ray Robinson is the greatest, in my opinion, man. The guy just was a great talent and a great fighter, man. So,
well, you know what else though? What used to happen, man? What they used to do back in the day, was they would fight stiff competition, but they would get in what you would call like a tune-up fight, basically a tune-up fight to work on stuff. So they would take those fights in between to try to stay sharp, and then they would go fight some more stiff competition. So it was just they wanted to fight regularly so they can stay sharp, and they just had a different mindset, man. It just different mindset than what we have here. I just want guys to fight 4 times a year, man. That's that's not going to happen. I mean, do 2, I guess twice is what it is now.
Yeah, exactly.
You collapse the division, that will happen.
Yeah. So let's move on, man, and talk about the belts, okay? Because this is going to be a good discussion, I think, here, man.
I got one thing. I want to, if I can't start with, is that if you take the heavyweight division right now, and from a promoter standpoint, and where the money's at, if there was only one heavyweight belt, that was it. The WBC, that was the only, or the ring belt, that was it. No other belt. We would not be having this discussion about Wilder, Fury, Ruiz, or whoever the fuck. It would just be that one champ and who was the next contender. The fact that we have multiple champions and we don't know who the real champion is, it's like, I think Ruiz is the most talented heavyweight in the division. Talented wise, like a real fighter, not some guy who fucking picked up boxing at 25, right? Because he couldn't do MMA or football. But a real fighter. I think Ruiz is the best in the division. But I'm going to start with that.
I agree with that also, but I want to talk about these belts again.
I don't know the most disciplined, but
yeah. Right now we got 4 major world championship belts in boxing per division. We got WBA, WBC, IBF, WBO. Most people don't recognize the IBO, but it's there, you know. Not only do we have those belts, but then we have super and regular with the WBA. We have interim belts. We have diamond belts. We have Mayan belts. We have
let me
belt. But hold on. Let me just get this off. We got not only that, not only do we have all these belts and all these knockoff belts with these major sanctioning bodies, but now we got the WBC with this franchise belt. Or I shouldn't even say belt, but the franchise champion, okay? Which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. So, in my opinion, I'm going to say real quickly, too many belts, number 1. Too many knockoff belts, number 2. And I think that's what makes most casual fans turn away from boxing. I don't know how many times I've had to explain to people, casual fans that I either work with or people that I know that watch boxing casually, they're just like, I don't know who the real champ is. This guy's got a belt, this guy's got a belt, this guy's got a belt. Too many belts, in my opinion. So I'm going to go around the bin one more time. Danny, you go ahead and start, bro. What do you think? Too many belts?
Or I think we have way too many belts. It all could, but it's again, the belt is what it is. It's a marketing tool. If we come back to the fact that the belt is a marketing tool for the promoter to hype their fighter, to sell tickets, to do a draw, that's all it is. And I think social media and the scalability that social media allows each fighter and these sanctioning bodies should change all that, but there's far too many belts. I also like the NABF. That is a minor belt, but that is a belt that's been around for a long time. So I like the NABF belt to stay as legit.
That's one that I forgot about. There's also was there like North American or
that's connected to the IBF. The NABF is connected to the IBF as their minor title.
Right. So Callie, your opinion, bro. We good with the amount of belts we have, or should we have less belts?
We definitely should have less belts, but let me name off what the WC has. The WC has their regular, their main belt, the green belt, the one that everybody, I used to like. I don't fuck with it no more. I don't like any of these belts. Got the WC diamond belt, got the WC silver belt, the WC eternal belt, the WC. So they have the emerald belt. They're just bringing the emerald belt back. They've had the money belt in the past. They have the future. They got the future belt. They also have the Mayan belt that they use once a year, and of course they have the franchise belt. So those are the belts that they have. Oh, I forgot about the interim title as well. So the WC, for what Mauricio Sulman said, that the belts are for marketing purposes for their sanctioning body. So that's what they said it's for. Mauricio Sulman said, you're here to market our company. This is a business. So he's honest about it. They're about they're about the sanctioning fee, and if you have one of those belts, you pay sanctioning fees. So Canelo Alvarez pays sanctioning fees just for the title franchise championship. That's why they created it for him. So, and of course, same thing. Lomachenko, they pay sanctioning fees for it to have that title. So that's all they care. That's all he cares about anyway. If you notice Mauricio Sulaiman, if there's a big fight, he's always trying to throw one of his fake ass belts in there. Every single time he's trying to introduce someone in. Oh, let me put the diamond belt in there. Let me put that in there. You say, God damn it, yeah, we gonna be a part of this. Yeah, this has nothing to do with you. No. We want to get. We want Mauricio Sulaiman like, God damn it, I want to cut. I want to get a cut. I want a piece of this major fight. Give me a piece, whatever it is. I want in. You can't get. Hey, say what you want. Look, I don't care for the dude, but the dude is a hustler, man. Dude find any kind of way to get money, man. He's always trying to get money, man. The dude is not. He is wealthy for a reason, and the dude is always out there looking for opportunity. The WC is not just involved in boxing; they're also involved in kickboxing and in other forms of martial arts. The WC is getting paper, man, all over the place. I don't know if you guys knew that.
They're killing. Yes, they're killing.
They're making the paper, but yeah, man, I think they need to shrink the belts. Me personally, if we have to keep one belt at this time, the only sanctioning body that has been normal has been the IBF, and it's located in the USA, which we can sue if they do something foul. So I would rather keep the IBF because we have the ability to sue, and so they're the only ones that enforce fights. So if they're mandatory, they enforce the mandatory. You know what I mean? You may be able to get one pass. So let's say you may be able to get one exception, but after that, you have to fight your mandatory or you'll be stripped. I'd rather have the IBF. So at least the IBF, there's no secondary titles with the IBF. There's one minor title in ABF, and that's it. That is it. So if I have to say one is decent, it's the IBF.
Okay.
Nice. Nicely put, man. D-Style, my brother. Too many belts? Or what, man?
Well, bro, we need more belts, bro. Okay, look. Let me read this definition for you. This is the Oxford Dictionary. Okay? Champion. Someone or something, especially a person, that has beaten all other competitors in a competition. Right? I must have missed some. It didn't say. I'm looking for it. Something about Sulaiman, whoever Sulaiman picks, or I'm missing it. Right? This is all. It says it's this simple. It's not this. It's not that complicated. We need to limit the amount of champions to keep it prestigious. Right? Everybody's got a belt nowadays, bro.
Everybody.
I went to my grandmother's house before this whole quarantine thing happened. She had a WBC belt strapped over her shoulder, bro. I said, "Where do you get that?" Sulaiman gave it to me, she said. Right? Right? Look, there's too many belts, dude. Too many guys have been able to call themselves champion when they really weren't. Okay, and I'll repeat, someone or something, especially a person that has beaten all other competitors in competition. There's no reason, and this is no offense to them. It's just that some of their peers were just better fighters, okay?
Well, the IBO is rumored to be going major in 2025, so wanted to let you know.
Oh, boy.
There's no reason Paulie Malignaggi should be calling himself a former world champion, okay? There's no reason Askayev should be walking around telling people that dude shouldn't be old, like telling his grandkids he's a former heavyweight champion of the world. Like, it's just, he just shouldn't be able to do that, and it's no offense to them. It doesn't mean that they weren't fighting at a high level and they shouldn't get props for that. They should, right? Boxing is not an easy sport. Like just getting in the top 10 should be prestigious, you know? So I just think we need to limit the amount of champions, right? Like not everyone gets to be a champion, right? A lot of great fighters just shouldn't become like, it's just because you're a good fighter doesn't mean, okay, but these styles, but don't they deserve it after all the hard work? All boxers work hard, right? But champion should be something prestigious, okay, and a high pedestal, and it should be hard to get there. Becoming the number one contender should be prestigious.
You don't think Charles Martin should have been champion?
No. He should not have been champion. I could think of many guys that should never have been champion. No offense to them, all right? All this does, man, it gives guys the ability to pick and choose who they want to face for a championship. They have multiple options per division, and then we have too many divisions. That's why I laugh, okay? And look, no offense to Floyd Mayweather, okay? But that bullshit record he just tweeted out a couple days ago is bullshit, okay? I beat him more world champions than anybody in history. Yeah, dude, you fought in the era where we had more world champions than anybody in history.
Right.
Fuck Floyd Mayweather. Just want to put that out there, the Daily Reminder. Fuck that dude. Fuck Floyd.
But let me say this. Henry Armstrong held 3 titles when there was only like 8. And one of them was vacant. There was 7 titles. He held 3. He held almost half of all the world championships in the entire fucking sport. All right? So he was fighting number 1 contenders. That dude was killing dreams. Guys are trying to take his titles. He defeated them. And because of him, they never became champion. But now everybody's a champion nowadays. So, of course, Floyd Mayweather is going to beat more world champions than Henry Armstrong did. Of course, he's going to beat more consecutive world champions, quote unquote. But let me ask you this. You take the word champion. Did Mayweather beat more, quote unquote, someone, especially a person that has beaten all other competitors in competition? Did Mayweather really beat like 23, 24 of those? No, he did not. All right?
Absolutely not.
That's what I got to say.
Well, you was cooking, man. And just like that segment you used to have on your show, man, the belt's gone wild, the Ric Flair, woo, 20-time world champion.
None of these dudes have, though, bro. If you want to be honest, none of these dudes have.
And the champ that Mayweather took his first title from, Genaro Hernandez, was like old and done with his career.
Yeah,
he wouldn't fight after that.
Well, yeah, the Corrales fight, we got to give him credit for Corrales for sure.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But at 140, it was a lot left to be desired. But my point is, and I don't want to turn this into a Floyd Bass session or anything like that. That's not my intention.
No, fuck that dude.
But no, but hold on. But what I'm trying to say is, when I tell people there was a time where there was only 8 world champions, guys, in all of boxing. Now we have hundreds of champions. Like, that is ridiculous.
It's going to be more, bro. It's going to be more, unfortunately.
It was up to me, dude. Maximum 2 world champions per weight class. That's maximum, and that's it.
Let me ask you something.
It's a marketing tool.
I want to ask you guys, so what happens if, let's just say in the next 10 years, it takes 6 world titles. You got to hold 6 world titles in order to become undisputed. Mm-hmm. Do you care at that point?
No.
Nope.
That's an
you get 3 belts, you're undisputed in my eyes. To be the undisputed heavyweight champion, you need 3 belts in my eyes. You need the WBC, the IBF, and the WBA.
Oh, you don't even count the WBO. You're not going to count. So you're already telling me you're not going to count you don't count the WBO, and you're not going to count the IBO.
Can we talk? Nope. I don't know. That'll be the next segment, but we need to talk about the WBO.
Well, we could talk about them, but I agree with you, D-Style. I think at the most there should be just two world champions per division, and those guys can fight for unification at any time. You know, whether if they're choosing to fight the mandatories. But then again, now it goes into another roadway with the rankings. Rankings are a joke also, man. They just, Danny,
they're purchased. Rankings are purchased.
Right. Danny, you've been in the game, bro.
Yeah.
Let us know,
we still don't know. We still don't know how it works.
Actually, we
Man,
do. We do know. You
let me tell you
buy a
something.
ranking, bro. You literally buy a ranking.
This is very telling, bro. This dude was a professional boxer, and not even he knows. I thought he was going to give us all the answers right now. I guess
No,
No,
I
no,
can
no.
tell you for
And
certain. They literally buy rankings for real.
because I haven't had a clue.
No, I came up in the camp of Willie Joran when I turned pro, and Willie Joran was ranked probably in the top 15 junior featherweights in the world, top 15, and hadn't really fought anybody. He fought a lot of guys from Mexico through Don Chargan as a promoter, and as like literally overnight, he got a fucking world ranking and was in the top 10, and then fought one other guy, and then fought Azuma Sada for the title. It was Don Chargan, the promoter, who somehow convinced the WBC to rank him in the top 10 in the first place. He didn't fight anybody.
It's called cash, bro. It's called a cash payoff.
Let me tell you something. That was either cash, okay, or a bunch of Playboy bunnies showed up to that dude's house, bro. Okay.
Yeah. Because I remember, I was an amateur, and I was with them. Like I was with them as an amateur. Well, I've known Willie since I was a kid, right? He came up as a world-class amateur, a good professional, a world champion. But as far as being like internationally or ranked throughout the world, like he wasn't for most of his career. Over fucking night, he got ranked in the top 10.
Well, you know, boxing is corrupt like the IOC. You guys know what the IOC was to happen. They used to get cash and gifts, and hookers sent their way in order to get the Olympics moved to certain countries and shit like that.
Yeah.
Boxing works the same fucking way. I don't know if I did a video on an article that was written back in I think it was like 1998 or 99, something like that. I forgot when it was, but it spoke about how Don King, whatever, he would bring in the officials, the referees, and the judges, and he would take them on the trip. Like he would send them like to Monaco, you know, he would send them like to Monaco, and then they would have a good time there. Now the fight's gonna happen there too, but they would go over there like a month or 2 months earlier, and they wouldn't have to pay for anything. And of course, what do you think's gonna happen in the fight? When it come time to judging the fight? Do you think
like Don King did this out of the kindness of his heart, Kelly? What do you mean?
Of course. But he's not the only one. He's not the only one that does. I mean, I'm not trying to shit. Well, I am shitting on him, but he's not the only one that does that. They all do it.
Look, was Don King corrupt and all that? Yes, but they all are. And at least Don King was great fights, though. All right.
Yeah.
But tremendous cards with Don King.
But here's the thing, bro, and this is the ironic part, and to be honest with you, the sad part. And you know, as boxing fans, all we could do is joke about it and laugh it off, because what else are we going to do about it? Cry? No, right? So look, these sanctioning bodies, the only reason they exist, pretty much, the only reason they're even around, their only purpose is to do the rankings, you know what I mean, and force these promoters to, hey, this guy's a mandatory, you got to fight him. You know what I mean? I don't care if he's not like a big name or you're scared of him, you want to duck him. No, this guy's a mandatory. You got to fight this guy because he fought through our rankings, and that's it. That's the job of the sanctioning body, bro. They're not supposed to be in the business of promoting. They're not. No. And the biggest example I could give you guys of them being in the business of promoting, and a lot of Canelo fans, you're going to hate me for this, but you know me, I don't give a shit. Okay. Like, how about this? Argue the merits and not your feelings. All right. Saul Canelo Alvarez, all right, was never even a champion yet, but for some reason, he got to request a catchweight fight for his first ever title shot. Right.
Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Right?
For a vacant title. Okay. And he didn't even have to fight a dude that was ranked. He got to fight a dude from 140, Matthew Haddon. Not even
his division.
Not even Ricky Haddon. They got the brother, bro. You know what I mean? They got Matthew. The Bobby
sanctioning fees. That's what it's all about. We know what it's about.
Now the sad part, not Mauricio, but Jose Suleiman, okay, was on a show in Mexico, and Juan Manuel Marquez called him out, and he said, Why isn't Canelo? First of all, how's Canelo even fighting? He hasn't fought anybody that was ranked. Second, even if you are going to have him fight, why isn't he fighting the number 1 dude, the number 2, the number 3? Hell, a guy in the top 10. Why are you going to a guy that's not even in the top 10 of the WBC from a lower weight class for? What are you doing? And Jose Suleiman, with a straight face, just said, Saul Canelo is a star. We need to do this for the good of boxing, is what he said. Right?
For the
Canelo didn't even make the weight. He missed the weight on the scale that he requested, and they still let him fight. Right? So this is an example of the sanctioning bodies, how corrupt they are, and how they're involved in the business of boxing when they really shouldn't be. Okay, they're there to protect the guys that no one knows about, but you know what? They earned their shot. That's why they're supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
But you got to understand though, the sanctioning bodies and the promoters work hand in hand. They have personal relationships and they have business dealings, and that's the corruption part that needs to be broken.
They do, but they shouldn't. And
no, they shouldn't. And that's what I'm pointing. That's the part that needs to be broken. There needs to be a separation. You should not be. Only thing you should be promoting is your fighter. You shouldn't be able to make a call to the sanctioning bodies and be like, you know what? I know my fighter's ranked number 130th in the world, but I like to move him up into the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Shouldn't be able to do that.
That's the crazy part, man, about the sport is that if we apply these same tactics to other sports, like football, for example, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Most popular team in the NFL.
In Dallas.
My team would be in the Super Bowl every fucking year if the game was played like boxing.
First of all,
you just have Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is still like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. We haven't won a game this year, but we're in the Super Bowl. Oh, on top of that too, these are the rules. I want us to be up by 60 points. To start the game off, we're up by 60 points.
Yeah. So these are the rules.
And we want a running clock. We want a running clock. We don't want the clock to ever stop. Even during commercials, we want the clock running.
Unless we say this clock stops. Unless we stop it. Unless we're behind it, we got to stop it. And if we're facing a team with a mobile quarterback, he can't get out of the pocket, no matter what. It's to the contrary.
I think it always goes back to the fact that boxing is an international sport. And then where we look at it from a regulatory standpoint, as a 50 states and these different state athletic commissions, where the athletic commissions, they're charged with the fiduciary handlings of a boxing match and a promotional event, and then the health of fighters. That's it. Nothing else. You want to bring in a fucking promoter or a brand or a beer or an organization that's underwriting the event, that's has very little to do with the state athletic commission. They're looking at the fiduciary contracts between fighter, promoter, and then the health of the fighters. Until let
me bring up something, because I'm glad you just brought that up. Remember when Eddie Hearn tried to make the Danny Jacobs fight versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. first in Nevada, and then of course Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. when Vada showed up at his house. They saw him sitting on his couch, and then he ran and he dove behind his island in his kitchen. And then they saw him out another window, and he ran out and jumped over. He ran out the backyard and jumped over the fence and got his car and left. And so Nevada suspended him because he dipped out on the test, right? So then they went to California, and he already had an issue out with California. So California said, we're not going to put on the fight. So Eddie Hearn went to another state, which was Arizona, and Arizona agreed to put on the fight. According, that's supposed to violate the Muhammad Ali Act, and we got a dude from the UK who's a promoter getting away with it. Just saying.
Yeah. That's where the federal government has to step in at some point. If we're ever going to see, like, I think the United States has to be first at the federal level. I thought President Obama was going to take this up, actually, because he's that badass, or he likes sports, right? And but until we'd have a real federal mandate or some oversight on enforcement of the Muhammad Ali Act, like and then they go overseas. Right. It's the same question with UFC, right? So when Dana White says he's going to rent an island, there's really no nothing that stops him from renting an island. The only thing that stops him is that here in the United States, you have an organized, you have other states that have the power to say, you know what, if you do that, we're not really gonna fuck with you anymore, right?
Well, not only that, like Disney, which owns ESPN, shut that shit down.
We won't do it, right?
You know who was good on this stuff was John McCain. Actually, John McCain was really good when it came to boxing.
So
he was a boxer.
Like, all I gotta say though is the following, right? Do I agree? Yes, but man, our government can't do anything right.
Can't even get my stimulus check to me, man.
No. See, what you got to do first is you got to inject yourself with disinfectant. That's what you
Just spray a little ice on your lungs, bro. You'll be all right.
And you know Trump ain't gonna do it because Trump.
I know what we gotta do, bro. Man. Look, all of us, we gotta get armed, bro. Get some arm, like Second Amendment right. Let's get some weapons. Okay, let's go to the federal building right now and demand. Let's demand Congress, okay, to reinforce the Muhammad Ali Act is what we got.
We talking about black and brown. We're getting shot as soon as we show up.
Yeah, right. That's right. That's right. But I think it's something that could really happen. And you hear people who are really vocal, like Oscar De La Hoya, he's been actually really vocal about that over the years, was realizing that California and Nevada have not so much an authoritative power because they're two different states, but figuratively, most of the states in most of the major fights are happening in Las Vegas, right? The big championship fights. And then California has a lot of the promotional companies and the legal arms of boxing. This is where we are. And so between California and Nevada, if they were to say, you know what, these organizations or promoters that kind of go outside or step over these fucking bounds, we're not really fucking with them no more. We're going to do this or we're going to do that. But then that creates a monopoly between California and Nevada and these larger promotional companies.
I don't care. You want to bring all the fights over here in California? I'm good with it. I know that's being selfish as hell. Yeah. Gfunk agrees with me.
Yes.
But that gets to like, and so when you go to the local shows, right? So the last local show I was at here in Sacramento, there was obviously no championship fight. But if the promoter is able to say, hey, we have a world ranked fighter, or we have a local heavyweight here in Sacramento, Blake the Beast, who I like Blake the Beast, but I don't think he's I don't think he's that great of a fighter. Good dude. I hope he gets a shot, make some money. But he has this belt that I don't even know what it is.
It's called the WU, the World Boxing Union. It's another minor world belt.
So I never heard of that. But the simple fact that if the local promoter is able to put him on and say, I got the WBU heavyweight champ, he sells tickets that way locally. And that's why we got these. And the casual boxing fans like, oh, what? The WBU? That sounds great.
What if the WBU champion is Maskayev? Is he going to sell?
in Sacramento, with all the Russians over there, you know how many how many Russians are in California? Sacramento's a lot of Russians in Sac, man.
We got a lot of them, yeah.
No, we have the second largest. West Sacramento has the second largest Russians outside of Moscow.
Hell?
Yes.
Yeah. No, not joking, bro. It's hell. I remember I told you about. You don't remember when I told you that, about that D-style?
It's New Jersey. It's Sacramento, New Jersey, then Moscow per capita.
I must have forgot.
Man, if you wanted to be honest with you, man, Northern California, we got a lot in the Bay too, but yeah, Sacramento is like the capital, man, when it comes to that shit, bro.
I only know that stat because when having met Oleg and the Sacramento Bee did an article, that's what they said. Sacramento, that region, has more Russians and Ukrainians per capita than any other place in the world.
And they got Russian neighborhoods, bro. You never seen Jersey. You never seen the Russian neighborhood? And we come out here, we take over Sacramento. I don't know why people don't understand. Russia will take Russia over here, Sacramento. You got a lot of Russian here, so we like to fight. Fighting, we tear it up here. That's what we like.
Best Russian fighter in Sacramento is Stan. Stan Martinuk is the best Russian fighter he doesn't fight enough though.
Shout out to Stan the Man for sure, man. I remember watching that guy train back in the day at Mateen's gym. Amazing
Yep.
guy, man.
Yeah, Stan's world rank as an amateur. I don't know what he's ranked. So Stan's a great example, right? So if Stan, whoever his promoting partner is he ranked in the world? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Will you guys come across Tony the Tiger Lopez? Any of you guys seen him
all the time? All the time.
And you just get him on the show, man.
Yeah, he'll come on. He'll talk about I don't know, some crazy shit.
Oh, man, I remember he fighting Arco back in the day. That shit was crazy, man.
Yeah, Rocky Lockridge. Remember that?
Yeah, he had some great fights here, man. He had some great fights at Arco, man. But we got a few minutes left here, man. D-Style, I know you wanted to talk about the WBO, man. So go ahead, man.
Look, man, like it's like, you know how I said it, man. Stop talking about the IBO and people like the WBO wasn't shit for years, dude. Right? It was not considered any, just like we talked about the WBU right now and the IBO, and the WBO was not considered like that big of a title, bro. I think De La Hoya and Top Rank had a lot to do with the WBO. I know Ray Mercer kind of as well. Some fighters started legitimizing the belt, but
Frank Warren too, bro. Frank Warren,
okay, yeah. I think Kawasaki had that belt for a while, right?
Yes, Kawasaki.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, like, dude, like the WBO is like a waste of space. All right, they came in too late to the party. We have too many belts, bro. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to add the WBO. And that's my main gripe, bro. I remember, like, the reason I wanted to bring that up was I still remember, because like my uncles hated De La Hoya, you know what I mean? And like they'll never admit it, but they hated him because he beat Chavez, right?
Yeah.
But they always
twice.
They always trashed like his first few titles because they were WBO titles. They always said he didn't win any of the legitimate titles. You know?
Yeah.
And
Troy Dorsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of cats who hate fucking Oscar because of that. So your uncle's not alone, bro. I know a lot of motherfuckers out here that fucking hate his guts.
Like it just really, you couldn't be like one the IBF, WBC, or WBO or not. Oh, here we go, but or the WBA guy. Like, I don't know. The WBO like snuck its way in, and I don't even know how it stuck around. It's like just considered a legit belt now, you know. And I also
Cortez had it. Cortez had it. I remember.
Manny Pacquiao had it for a while. Yeah.
Like these belts always come around, and they're never what they're originally meant to be, right? The WBA came up with the concept of the super belt, okay? Mm-hmm. Like, we're gonna have a regular champion and a super champion, right? And I just remember like being like, what the fuck is this? And I remember the WBA was like, oh, don't worry, like we're not gonna have a super champion in every weight class. You know, to become a super champion, you got to defend the title like 10 times or unify some belts. But if you look now, dude, there's a super champion in every weight class right now. You know, and then the WBC, they came up with the franchise belt. Oh yeah, it's always been in our rule book. It's Rule 6789, and if 3/4 of the ballot says that we're going to crown somebody a franchise champion, they become the franchise champion. And we voted in Hawaii because when you hold a vote, when you do it in Hawaii, I mean, that just legitimizes the whole thing.
Hey, that makes it gold.
I'm sure that they weren't just spoiling themselves, okay, in Hawaii with the sanctioning money they were going to get from fucking, Lomachenko and shit, right? I'm sure that wasn't it, but I just, the diamond belt. They first said that was going to be for special catchweight fights. Pacquiao Cotto was the first diamond belt championship fight, right? And then they said, "Oh, this is only like for like when there's a catchweight," and now they're doing like, dude, it's gotten so bad that BoxRec puts it as, "Oh, this is a diamond belt championship, welterweight championship fight." It's ridiculous. Like, why is BoxRec recognizing that?
What about the ring belt? Do you guys like the ring belt?
Ring magazine belt.
Yeah. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just a magazine belt. And I mean, it's cool. It's just for look. It's a trinket. It's another
But
trinket. Me personally,
you don't think they as journalists pick like who's the best fighter in that division and
nah. I think a lot of times I think they do a shitty job a lot of times. To be honest with you,
My problem is that writers and even if they're going to have agendas. You know what I mean?
exactly.
The ring doesn't have agenda. Well, I guess there's judges still they still got to deal with, but for the most part, the ring doesn't have like no one could just give their opinion. Like if guys, there's going to be a fight. Sometimes judges don't get it right, but at least you fight it out. And I think
But in the ring magazine guys are the writers are dudes who've never even played sports. I mean, I'm not being funny. I'm being dead ass serious.
Yeah, no, you're
These
right.
dudes never played sports. Me personally, I'd rather just go with the IBF. We don't need the WBA I understand the history of those belts, but they've kind of discredited themselves with the bullshit that they pushed lately. We got the IBF, it's located in New Jersey. We can sue it. We can take it to court if they fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they've been sued before. That's why they've been acting right for the past, decade plus now. So I think
I need to correct myself quick. It wasn't Lomachenko. Lomachenko did accept it, but it was actually Canelo. They got it first. Canelo got the franchise belt first.
Yeah, Canelo got it first.
Okay, and and I agree with the person that put franchise belt equals diva belt. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No one should be giving a belt because a panel voted or like that. That's how wrestling used to do it, like the NWA. Like, you know what I mean? Like are really doing that? Like writers or sanctioning bodies are voting on who becomes a champion. Dude, like the only way anyone should become a champion is by fighting another fighter in the ring. That's it.
No, we know that you got to go. To me, you need to go through a gauntlet to get to the title. Like there should be a title. There should be a tournament for a title every year.
Yeah.
And you need to get to that tournament in order to win a title. And even if you're the champion, you still got to enter the tournament every fucking year.
That's how other individual sports are. I mean, if we look at I know D-Style doesn't agree on golf being a sport, but that's how golf works their majors. That's how golf works their majors. That's tennis. They play tournaments. I mean, it makes sense to me,
Golf is not a sport, bro.
Golf is a sport. Hey, no, there needs to be a matrix. There's some sort of matrix that within the top 10 or the top 15 rankings, like if you're ranked in the top 10, right, you have so many people under your belt that you fought. Yeah. So if I'm ranked 11 or 12, I need to go and that's as a pro, our strategy, me and as I think of my 5th or 6th fight, when I decided to fight this guy in Washington who had like 30. He was a journeyman fighter. He's like 30 wins, 30 losses. But he'd been in there with like Popo Freitas, all kinds of world champions. And he wasn't great, but he just had all this shit under his belt. And so by me fighting him, right, I now absorbed. I can say, hey, I beat a guy who was been in the ring with Oxalino Freitas and Joel Casamayor, and because he was, right? And so there has to be a matrix that says, if I continue to fight and contact this manager or these fighters and fight these people, I can work my way up to, because if you're ranked top 10, right, and all of you fought was like just bums, like
you shouldn't be ranked. You should have to fight your way into the top 10. But
I should be able to go and say, hey, I'm going to fight every bum this guy fought, and I'll be ranked the same. But you can't.
See, to me, you should. I think everybody should have to fight their way into the top 10. That's what I think.
I want to ask Danny Savala a quick question. Because a lot of us, since there's no like records we can look at, kind of like box rec for amateur boxing, right?
Right.
How are the rankings done? And in your opinion, were they done just better in the amateurs than the pros?
In the amateurs, it's purely tournament based.
Yeah.
You literally from the way it is, and it's ingrained into almost every amateur fighter. It's so you have your smoker fights that just kind of get you in shape and help you build your skills. But you have 3 major tournaments throughout the year. You have the USA Championships, you have the PAL Championships, and the Golden Gloves. Those are the 3 qualifying for the Olympics, right?
Right.
So as you work your way through those, I went for years all the way through Northern, Central, and Southern and got beat every year by Steven Lovano, who later became a world champion, right? So Steven Lovano was always the best fighter in California. nationally ranked up against Rock Allen and other fighters, Rocky Juarez and everyone else. Rocky Juarez, I think, from Houston. So Steven Lovano was like in the top 4. But me, the guy who like always lost to him, I was always 5, 6, 7, or 8, never cracking above that top 4 because I never beat Steven. The only year I cracked above 5 was the year Steven turned pro, and I didn't have to fight him.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's very like, hey, the top fighters in each state are going to advance to the nationals, and whoever wins, that's the number 1 fighter in the country per division. But if you don't beat Steven in California, you're just fucking out there. You're still a good fighter, but it should be the same way for like the pros, right? And for a 126-pound belt, you should be able to know who the best fighters are per state, per region. And if you go beat them, hang with them, beat whatever, you should take their position.
Yeah, that's how it was. So, I mean, cheap plug, but so I did a short story on the Basie versus Moreno, which is back in the 50s, right? I mean, Moreno had to become the best in Mexico before he even thought about the world stage. You know what I mean? Like if you're not the best in Mexico, you're not gonna move on, bro. You know what I mean? And that's how it was for a lot of decades. And now, I mean, if you have freckles in your face and you know you got some skills, you know they'll just throw you in there with an unranked dude and at a catchweight that you requested that you don't make, and you become a world champion, bro. You know, it is what it is.
Hey, what Moreno in the 50s you talking about?
I'm talking about Pajarito Moreno.
He knocked my grandfather out in Sacramento at the Mora Auditorium. That was my grandfather's last fight. He was like 50. Yeah, he was like something like 40-something over, like 40 knockouts.
He was a big knockout artist.
Yeah.
He was a little chinny too, but that's he always made for great fights. I have a short story when he got his title shot. Back in the day when getting the title shot was like a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I have the short story. My Hogan Basie versus Ricardo Pajarito Moreno. That Moreno was my grandfather bet on that fight and lost his whole check.
Wow.
Ouch.
Yeah, he had to call my grandmother and explain, and he came up with this. Long story short, he accused his boss of being a racist that hadn't paid him yet.
Yeah,
my grandmother he got paid, bro.
You know, just remind me of though. You know, what used to be a big deal was the minor titles. You know, when you win the NABF, like that was a big deal. Like that was celebrated like you won a world title.
That was the minor title. That was your precursor to a world title.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we need to we gotta remind everybody why it's important to win those titles and defend those titles and work your way from, you know, with the minor title for a while. Or I wouldn't even say shouldn't even call it a minor title. It's just the local, or I should say your regional title is a better way to call it. Yeah, the regional title.
It's like half the NABF is like half the world, right? Not the whole world, just a half the world. That's a minor. That's like almost everyone, but not everyone.
Right.
Yeah, man, this has been great conversation here, man. But Gfunk's got to wrap it up here, man. It's getting a little late here, and I got to spend some QT with the wife tonight.
Hey, I want to tell you about Moreno one time. So my grandfather fought, who upset Jesus Pimentel, who was like on his way to a world title back in the 60s. He beats and upsets Jesus Pimentel, and then obviously that earns him a shot against Pajarito Moreno where he was knocked out.
Oh wow! Okay.
So,
wow, what a piece of history, man! That's crazy.
That's crazy. I love hearing that name Moreno.
And the Memorial Auditorium, man, that's a historical place here in Sacramento.
Hey, you know what? But I just want to say this, man. Just do bring. When you get time, let's do a panel like this again, man. Let's see if you can't bring on Tony the Tiger Lopez, man. Let's rap with him.
Dan, you know, Danny would probably have a better chance at getting Tony to contact. I see Tony every now and then at gatherings with people that mutual people that we know. But I think Danny would probably have a better chance. If you could get a hold of him, Danny, hey man, let's get him on.
Him and my uncle are working on a documentary. Tony and my uncle Richard are working on a documentary together. So I'll reach out to them. But again, it's about boxing and stuff like that. And again, like my uncle had the state title here. It was a state featherweight champion, which got him a world ranking, but never a world title.
You know, you should. I mean, if you bring your uncle on too, man. Let him tell his story. With that's a good story too.
Man, like if in those days they had as many weight classes, as many belts, he probably would have been world champ.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he would. So, and my old coach my old coach fought Wilfredo Gomez or Benitez, whatever one it was. Which one is the bad one?
Well,
back in the 80s.
Gomez
was fucking fight.
The one that lost to Sanchez.
The one that lost to Sanchez. The one that lost to Sanchez.
Yeah,
that's Wilfredo Gomez.
Sanchez is a badass motherfucker, bro.
So my coach fought him and went heads. It was supposed to be like a slug out fight. Back in the 80s, you lose to him, that's it, you're done. Today, if you hang with that champ, you're in line for like another fight or a minor title. So it's like, what do you get, you know?
Yeah, kind of like Salito. That's how Salito got his shots, bro. Like he lost to Gamboa, so then Top Rank wanted to compare the performances with Lopez. And
no matter what he says, he beat Lomachenko, bro. That's all that matters.
What I'm saying is, like, he got the shot with Juanma Lopez because, you know, Gamboa beat him, and Top Rank wanted to showcase, like, I guess, you know, similar opponents. Yeah. And it backfired. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that dude back in the day, dude, becoming number one contender was like it was excruciating. You look at the fights, bro. Like in that short story, I said that there was a guy, I forget his name right at the top of my head, but there was this Ike Chestnut. He was like from New York, right? This dude went on an 8 match winning streak in that year. I think it was 1957. 7 straight fights, and he beat like 2 top 10 dudes. And then like he had to fight Moreno to get a title shot against basically, you know what I mean? Wow. And I mean, Moreno knocked him out. You know, like imagine having to win like 10 straight fights, and then like you're 1 fight away from your title shot, and you get knocked out.
Damn. But like I say, now with all these different belts, that's a great subject, like good or bad. But like I said, my coach went 15 rounds with Wilfredo Gomez, and after that, his career was over.
Oh, come on.
Today he would be like the WBO champ versus the WBC champ.
Right. Yes.
And still make money and still have a chance to come back.
But like Paulie Malignaggi, bro. That dude became champion after Cotto destroyed him, bro.
Yeah. Paulie Malignaggi is garbage.
Paulie Malignaggi, bro. Okay. Needs to stop, bro. Okay. He needs to stop talking trash. You're over the hill, bro. Stop.
Well, he did say that. He did say that Donald Trump is amazing, and that
did he?
We need more. Yeah, he's a big time. You didn't know he was a Trumpie? Yeah, he's a big time. He's a MAGA guy, bro. He's a MAGA guy
from New Jersey.
I understand that Paulie's the boxer.
He's from Brooklyn. He's from Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, New York. If you know about Bensonhurst, it's a neighborhood that definitely didn't like people who look like me, which is black.
Let me say this. So, look, here's my gripe with Paulie Malignaggi, bro. Okay. You got knocked out by Eggington, you retire, you haven't fought in years, right? And then, like, for no reason at all, he starts talking shit about Conor McGregor. They invite him over to spar. Dude shows up out of shape with love handles. Okay. Now, what I don't know what happened in the sparring session. I do find it fishy that the Conor camp doesn't release the full footage. It just released some pictures. You know, but like you had it coming. You go to their training camp, and they're the only ones with cameras there. Don't be shocked, bro. You know what I mean? Like he brought it upon himself. Is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
My only beef with Malignaggi is the fucking skirts he used to wear in the ring. That told me everything.
Do you guys remember? Well, I got you guys here real quickly, and we talked about that Lascano versus Hatton fight, which we were all pissed off about,
bro.
But he fought. He fought
Hatton, bro.
Remember, Paulie Malignaggi fought before that fight, and he had braids, those cornrow braids, and they popped out, and they literally cut this dude's hair and right in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well. First of all, what was that? That was in the undercard, right?
Yeah,
He
Yeah.
fought, was it Undo? I forget who he fought.
yeah.
But dude, Lascano, bro. Like, you know how bad I wanted Lascano to win that fight? Okay, because El
Oh,
Paso.
we were right there with you, man.
Okay. Well, I know he rep I get it, but he was from El Paso. He went to Bowie High School here.
Yeah,
Okay?
he loved El Paso.
Yeah. He would show up to the high schools here and give speeches, and all that good stuff. But I really wanted him to win that fight, and he had it, bro. He had him, and they stopped the fight to tie. Ricky had his shoelaces. Like, I was pissed off, bro. I was pissed off.
Yeah.
We all
let
were.
me tell you guys something. Let me tell you something. You guys know that Orlando Salido, man, he's actually a deputy in the state legislature of Sonora. So
Man.
he's a state legislator. He's actually a government official, man.
Wow.
He's a government official, Orlando Salido.
Wow, I'd have never known.
Well,
So I gotta wrap this one up, guys. But you know what, man? The thing is this, man.
I want to make a quick announcement. Look, check it out, man. Next Wednesday, I'm gonna go live to Gfunk. So we want to do a Spanish Causing Panic on Wednesday. Just to do a show and stuff, because 2 weeks from now I'm gonna start going back to my regular schedule. All right. Also, if you guys want to support the channel, go to D-Style Boxing. All right. There's a membership, only 99 cents per month. You can support the D-Style channel. And there'll be some perks coming in the future that I'll kind of put out there. I'm gonna have a blog I'll be releasing there that I used to write a lot about boxing, and I'll start writing, and it'll be exclusive on the community page. And also, this weekend we're gonna do the fantasy lightweight tournament, which features fighters from the last 20 years going up against fighters from the 90s, 80s, and 70s in the first round.
nice.
And it's going to be really, really interesting. So you guys tune in for that, man. And we have the welterweight one that Pernell Whitaker won last weekend. You guys can check that out, man. But thank you for having me on, Gfunk.
Anytime, man. And make sure you guys are there for that show. And make sure you subscribe to D-Style Boxing. Make sure you subscribe to the Cali Enigma. If you haven't done that, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. But this has been great, man. So I want to get final thoughts from you guys. And we'll do this again, man. You guys all got my my information. Contact me anytime when you're available and free. We'll do it again. But Cali, give final thoughts, bro.
Oh man, thanks for letting me come on, man. Salute you guys, man. Shout out to Northern California, man. You know what I mean? It's a good thing, man. Hopefully you get Jose. If everything comes back to normal, we can get Jose Ramirez fight back in Fresno, man. I'll see you there. That's something that I wanted to see, Jose Ramirez versus Victor Postal, man. That would have been a good fight up in Fresno. And what's your other name? What's the other guy's name again?
Danny Savage.
Danny, yeah, man. Maybe if they do it, man, maybe you'll want to come to that fight too, man. Be nice to meet you, brother. Because you live in Sac too, right? Yeah, you live in Sac too. So yeah, man. Yeah. I'm right up here in the Bay Area, man. So I'm not too far from you.
Yeah, Danny's a Sacramento native like myself, man. We went to elementary school together. I watched a lot of his fights when he was fighting professional here at Arco Arena, and even on ESPN Friday Night Fights, man. It was always a joy to see him. And here's an idea, guys. Since we're all Northern California guys, and no disrespect to D-Star, that's my brother too. He's over in Texas, But
that's my brother. Yeah, that's my brother, man.
If they're not allowing fans at the Ramirez fight and they just do, an empty arena or something,
right?
Hey, man, you guys are more than welcome to come to my new place, man. We can go watch it together, man.
Yeah,
I'm game.
Just throwing it out there, But Danny, brother, go ahead, man. Give some final thoughts, man.
One last thing too, man. Yeah, my uncle lives in Sac, man. Actually lives in Elk Grove right now, and my cousin lives off Florin Road in Sac. So. I have other family members up in Sac as well, man. Yeah, bro. I got on both sides of the family. I have family in Sac, man. And so, man, that's for forever, man. My uncle used to work for PG&E up in Sac, so I used to be in Sac pretty much on a regular basis, man. Yes, yeah, but I'm a Bay cat, man. But yeah, shout out to you guys, man. Salute to Sacramento,
Thank you.
man. And Davis too, man. It's go up to Davis quite a bit too, man. It's kind of boring town, Davis, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's really college town.
It's a
But
college
yeah,
town
man.
for sure, man. If you
I
want to
know.
go, if you want to party, you can party there at night, man. They like to go out and drink and stuff. But D Style's inviting you on the show on Wednesday, Danny. If you're available,
Yeah, I'm
man,
with it. I'm with
you know?
it, man. I'm in quarantine until the 22nd, so I'm good, man. I love talking fights.
Right, man. So give us your final thoughts, man, on the topics here, and then we'll wrap this thing up, man.
I think it's a great conversation. Ultimately, man, it comes down to, obviously health of fighters, and we're in a tough spot. I think, but as fans, as boxing fans and as boxing writers and commentators, I think we have the ultimate responsibility to kind of continue talking about this, because the consumers, we're the ones that fucking pay for the fights, right? We're the ones
Yes.
that are, so we have to show them what we want and what we'll pay for. And I think most fighters or most people know that there's far too many fucking titles, and we don't really care. I think social media and the scalability of this whole platform that we have, the internet, is going to change completely. It's a completely different model where titles are a marketing strategy. Right now, you got younger fighters who I've been following for years. The heavyweight, we got a heavyweight Mexican heavyweight on the U.S. national team that's going to represent us in the Olympics, who's going to crush it as a pro. And like, no one even knows who he is, but he's got thousands of followers, and thousands of people are going to want to see him. No one gives a shit about what belt he has or who he fights. They want to see him for him. So I'm excited to see what happens, what social media and the scalability does, and kind of eliminates this alphabet soup gang that be taking shit over. But I'm happy to talk about all this, man. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm happy that all of you guys decided to come on and spend a couple hours with me, man. I know it's Friday night, even though we can't go out and do what we would normally do. Still, it's Friday
Yeah,
night.
I'm used to being able to go catch some type of fight on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, man, you're used to like Friday, Saturday. We had it good. I'm not gonna lie. The past couple of years with boxing, we had it good, man. Friday, Saturday, even on Sunday at times.
Sometimes,
we had fights coming on, bro. Just it feels weird, bro. We haven't seen a fight since February, bro.
Well, they're saying, I heard De La Hoya the other day on Jim Rome saying that he's working on a 4th of July, that boxing will be the first sport in the United States to be broadcast live.
No, Major League Baseball said they're coming back July 4th. Kicking the season off.
De La Hoya said he's gonna make Ryan Garcia versus I don't know who, July 4th.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm a sports fan, bro. So I like boxing, baseball, basketball, football, and hockey, bro.
I'm with all the sports too, man. But hopefully we get Jorge Linares there, man, to fight Ryan Garcia.
Right? Yeah, that's coming, bro. That fight is coming. Jorge Linares versus Ryan Garcia.
That's a real nice chance for the young Garcia, man.
You know what fight I want? I want Jose Ramirez versus Victor Postal, because I want Jose Ramirez to fight the Scott Josh Taylor on his racist shit that he was doing lately, and I want Jose Ramirez to knock his ass out in Fresno.
Yeah. Let's bring that thing here. Let's bring that thing to Central California, man, so we can all be there. You know what I'm saying? But this was great, guys. Thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody out there in the chat. We appreciate you guys hanging in there with us too, and dropping comments and everything. We will be back, and I will let you guys know in advance when the show will be on. But man, this was great. I appreciate it, man. So everybody out there, man, the guys on the panel, the guys in the chat, stay safe, stay at home, wash your damn hands, do all that shit. All right. Don't take no risks, man, because we're almost there, man. Let's just hang in a little bit longer, man. But thank you guys. Thank you to the panel. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this thing, man. One love to everybody, man. Gfunk is out. Peace.